So this week has been crazy busy, but I still really wanted to get a video up because I wanted to make another cake because it's Halloween and you know what it's like. So I'm just making this slightly different format. You're not going to see my head. I'm going to call this series Cakeable Quickies. So the first thing I did to make this very small cake was I printed out a template using the picture that I found from an amazing artist named Adam Dougherty, who is also known as the KreatureKid. And I just printed it to the size I wanted, and then I cut a board around that picture just to get the general shape. I'm using buttercream to attach that board to a setup board and filling the cake with some buttercream. As you can see, I've carved around the side of that cake using the board as a template to get the right shape. And now I'm just rounding it out a little bit to give us a nice, well, structured look. Up in the corner you can see my timer going for my quickie. Have a guess now how long this cake took me from beginning to end. I've used some buttercream to smooth over the top of my cake to give it a crumb coat. And now I'm making some indents for the eyes with a circle cutter. Filling that with some more buttercream. And I'm making my eyes a little bit ahead of time because I want them to firm up a bit. So it's just a couple of pieces of yellow fondant rolled into balls, and I set them in a paint palette coated in some cornstarch to dry. I'm using modelling chocolate now to start sculpting the features of our shrunken head. Firstly around the nose area, then I'm building up around the eyes. Gotta say, this cake was so much fun to make. It's tiny, but it was so much fun. Now I'm putting an area on where his droopy, unhappy bottom lip's going to be. Unhappy probably because it's sewn up. And then building up the chin. All of this once again is modelling chocolate. Now the forehead. Now something this size is probably the sort of thing that you'd put on top of a cake or on the front of a cake. It's not really going to serve more than one person, but it's a great idea. The concept's awesome. Okay, so I'm putting my eyeballs in. I did put them into a dehydrator in that time, so they've had nearly half an hour, as you can see up in that top corner in the dehydrator. Not fully dry, but dry enough to work with. And taking some more modelling chocolate now and building up around the eyes. A little bit up there for between the eyes. Now what I've done is I've put some vegetable shortening on the eyes because we're about to cover this guy. And I don't want my 50-50 modelling chocolate fondant mix, which is what I'm using, to stick to his eyes because I need to cut them out. Well, cut out holes for his eyes anyway. So I'm just smoothing that over all the features using my sugar shapers from Innovative Sugarworks to mark out all the features. Another sugar shaper here, just a generic number. And I've gone around the outside of the eye with my X-Acto knife and very gently just lifted that fondant / modelling chocolate off the top, which of course was very easy because I put the vegetable shortening on. Do the same to the other side. Sugar shaper again and tidy it up. Now I'm going to build up underneath the eye. I've just got a cigar shape, I suppose, a tapered cigar shape of fondant, and I'm placing that underneath the eye, using my sugar shaper again to get that into place. And of course, I go ahead and do that on the other side. Voila! Now I believe there I was marking off where his hair is going to be, and now I'm using my Dresden tool to make more markings in his face, above his eyes, across his nose, you know, all the places, making him look grumpy and old and shriveled because he's a shrunken head. You'll see I go in here and make quite distinct lines, several of them, underneath the eye. I'm just copying Adam Dougherty's picture here. Like I said, it's Adam Dougherty, aka KreatureKid. Pretty sure you'll find him anywhere online. Made a mark here now for the chin, and I'm using my finger to indent that to make sure there's a definite separation. You just press it down a little bit, down the bottom of the line. It makes it sort of, the top of it jut out some more. Very gently, firstly scribe around where the top of the lip is, and then go ahead with the Dresden tool and make it a bit deeper. And I do the same for the underneath of the lip. And then I use the same technique as I use for the chin, and I use my finger in there and just indent it a little bit more, pushing it out. It's the great thing about using the buttercream and the modelling chocolate underneath, you can actually manipulate it quite a bit even though it's already under the surface. Going ahead now and making the nostrils. Using my sugar shaper tool. I don't know what these tools are called, to be honest, that's why I just call them sugar shapers. And then I'm just making some marks on the lips, you know, the lines on the lips. Tying it all up, or tidying it all up would probably be a better thing to say than tying it all up. Basically, I just played around with it until I was happy. Which is surprising that it's only at an hour and 8 minutes, because usually I muck around forever. I'm taking 4 toothpicks here, and I'm just making some little marks on the face. I wanted some texture on the face, so that's just making some little divots in the face. And then I'm taking some tin foil, some aluminium foil, rolled that up, and I'm just dabbing that around the face for more texture. Household items can be amazing. I'm marking out where the pupils of the eyes are going to be with a very large piping tip. And now I've just taken some tulip red coloured gel colour, and I'm painting in those pupils just with full gel red. Then I take a cotton tip and I start just making a mark in the centre and then dabbing, it's hard to explain, dabbing the paint outwards so that it's lighter in the middle and darker on the outside. I've taken some black airbrush colour and just gone around the outside of the eye. And then of course we need a pupil, so I've taken that same black airbrush colour and made the pupil in the centre of the eye. Details, details! The very fine brush, I've taken some watered down, more of an orange colour, gel colour, and I'm making some veinage in the eyes. And to finish the eye look off, I've taken some brown petal dust on a thin brush and I'm just going around the entire outside of the eye. Both sides. Eyes. Now he's coming to life, but it's hard for him to come to life. He's a shrunken head, he's dead. But continuing with the petal dust trend right now, I'm going in all of those lines with some black petal dust, including inside the nostrils. I've used some other petal dust. As you can see, there's some extra colour on there, so I used some khaki colour, I used a lighter brown, a little bit of green, just, you know, give the face a bit of diversity. I just took a couple of pieces of flat fondant, popped them on the sides of his head and made some markings in there for ears. And now I'm coming in with my airbrush, using some green and some ivory first, and then I go all over him with some blue. Don't be scared of the airbrush. Enjoy the airbrush. Airbrush is fun. Just go easy, go slowly, and you'll be fine. I've taken a paper towel just to highlight a few extra spots so the paper towel is a little damp, wiped off some of the excess airbrush, and then used some of my petal dust once again and went back over the face in the areas I wanted to highlight and low light and all that stuff. Now let's add that hair. So I've got some piping gel up the top there. I'm putting some black fondant on the top of his head, using my X-Acto blade to make marks in the top to give him a widow's peak, I suppose. Smooth that all down, cut the excess off. I've moved him now to the board that I'm keeping him on also. Before you do the hair, that's what you really need to do. And I'm just using my Dresden tool to make marks in the hair. Adding a long cone shaped piece to the top. And first I make marks with the Dresden tool and then I give him a little snip with some scissors for a bit more texture. Sideways as well. There we go. An hour 54, peoples. I've taken some twine and I'm just wrapping that around the separation between where we added the ponytail on top and where the top of his hair was. And now let's sew up his mouth. So I'm using my Dresden tool to make a hole in the top of the lip, taking a piece of twine, then I just poke a hole underneath the lip and pop the twine in. 1 hour, 58 minutes, 53 seconds. I think it's a record. I can't believe I made that cake that quickly. Anyway guys, that's it for me this week. I hope you really enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I hope you enjoyed the first installment of That's Cakeable Quickies, and I will see you next week.